You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Podcast.
So last Thursday, Cori Bush, she is the representative from Missouri who spent a couple of nights outside on the steps of the capital, nation's capital, trying to get the eviction moratorium extended out. And she was successful, put enough pressure on President Biden that he just totally caved and came up with what is arguably a not legal solution, a solution that in the courts won't hold up because the Supreme Court has already said, yeah, you're going to have to go to Congress to get this extended back out because CDC they don't really have any authority to do this. So in spite of all that happening, Cori Bush defends calling to defund the police while having private security. You would rather me die, ? In quotes. This is probably one of the most tone-deaf statements and speeches that I have ever seen. It makes no sense at all. But this is what we're working with. This is literally what we're working with. Another quote from her is, I have private security because my body is worth being on this planet right now. All right. So number one, we're saying you would rather me die. Or could we look at it as other lives are worth saving as well? And by defunding the police, we've already proven that with less police on the streets, people are more likely to shoot each other. Let's go to a good example in Chicago over this past weekend. 13 were killed, 86 were shot. Over the weekend, 86 people in Chicago were shot. 13 people killed. I read these stats all the time, and each weekend, sometimes it's a little bit less, sometimes it's a little bit more. No, it's not the warm weather of summer. It's not shooting spike in summer. That is a thing, but that's not the cause of what's going on. You've got people just shooting each other. And defunding the police, not the answer. All right, before we jump into this article, if you're new here, my name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies. Yes, I'm from Seattle, but that doesn't mean that I can't have a reasonable opinion. And that's probably why you're tuning in. I have a lot of people say, Seattle sucks. Well, certain aspects of it do. I can't argue with you there. I can't put a spin on what's going on in Seattle in a positive way. Hey, everything's great here. You should come on down and start a business and, all kinds of good stuff. I mean, I could say that. And you know what? That is literally happening. Thousands of people are coming here for jobs to start businesses. So, I don't even have to do that because it's already happening in spite of the stuff that a lot of people are like, ooh, yeah, keep your Seattle scourge in your neighborhood, not my neighborhood, right? Representative Cori Bush, Democrat, Missouri, was ripped by viewers on Thursday after telling CBS News that the police need to be defunded despite shelling out thousands of dollars for own personal security detail. I'm more important than you are. Therefore, we should still defund the police because that's been, such a great concept and it's worked out so well. In cities that have defunded the police, how has that worked out? Is crime down? Is it down? It's not. Shocking, right? Bush slept outside the Capitol this week to protest the end of the first eviction moratorium that was put in place because of the coronavirus pandemic. I just recorded a podcast that basically, I'm like, okay, but here in Seattle, pandemic didn't rip through homeless encampments. We know that. So the whole threat of people getting kicked to the curb, number one, when people get evicted, it doesn't automatically mean they grab their tent and go live outside. Right? That doesn't happen. They go live with friends or family. Maybe they rent a room somewhere. There's lots of other alternatives. This whole knee-jerk concept narrative, it's a no-go. The representative was once homeless herself. Okay, we know that, loud and clear. She and Democratic leaders celebrated a short-term victory on Wednesday after the moratorium was extended, not legally, but extended to early October, albeit a constitutionally dubious fashion. That's a nice way of saying not legally. More than likely not legally, and Who do I have to back that up other than the president himself? He came right out and said it. He probably shouldn't have said that. I mean, probably should, at least not out loud. At least not out loud. Keep that one in your head. If somebody asks me the question, I'll answer it. But otherwise, I'm not really going to go there. Maybe he was answering a question. I can't remember. The whole thing was just like, this is happening? But in recent days, Bush has been called hypocritical for spending $70,000 on private security while pushing to defund the police. CBS anchor Vladimir Duthiers asked Bush to respond to the criticism. Hey, can you tell us? And I've watched this video. She's a nutcase. I mean, she just doesn't get it, doesn't want to get it, feels like her agenda is so important that she should have security. How about the people, again, in Chicago that are facing, possible defunding of the police because Cori Bush says, you just got to deal with me having security and we've got to defund the police in spite of 13 killed and 86 people shot over the weekend, including that 29-year-old police officer. I mean, horrific. They would rather I die, Bush asked. You would rather me die? Is that what you want to see? You want to see me die? Because that could be the alternative. Okay, that could be the alternative. But what you're doing is you are asking your constituents to basically place you on a pedal while we put their needs secondhand. And you're basically telling everybody that you're more special. Therefore, you deserve protection when other lives don't matter. That's what we're saying here. And by saying, is that what you want to see? You want to see me die? That's a methodology of argument that doesn't really work because it's not logical. That's not what we're saying. We're saying is, your constituents have a right to safety as well. And we know that defunding the police, without something tried and true to supplant the police officers that you're going to take away from the streets, that's not really going to work out. And it's not working out as we speak. It's not. Crime rates are increasing. They're not going down. Up, not down. Up, not down. Bush said that she would ensure that she has security because she has attempts on her life and has too much work to do. Well, how about we talk about the people that had more than attempts on their life, the 13 that were killed in Chicago. I hate to keep harping on this, but you can kind of see where I'm going with it, right? I mean, this isn't that hard to figure out. Oh, and I understand Chicago is not, it's not Missouri. All right. I get that. But this is kind of an example of how this goes. And Cori Bush goes on to say, so suck it up. All right. So what are we sucking up exactly, Cori? What? So suck it up. Pass. No, probably not going to. And defunding the police has to happen. So she puts in two sentences. So suck it up. That could be period. And then, but she goes, so suck it up and defunding the police has to happen. She added, okay. All righty. With no real explanation, just kind of, this is what we're doing. She suggested that she has two options: stay on the Capitol steps and stop evictions, or have a possible attempt on her life. Yeah. I have private security because my body is worth being on this planet right now, she added, claiming a white supremacist, racist narrative is trying to stifle her. Well, really? Okay. Well, okay. Yeah. That doesn't really have to do anything with the whole, you're telling people they should have fewer cops on the streets and feel more safe when in fact you have your own fleet of personal police, so it doesn't really matter to you. That's kind of what I'm taking from this. Critics condemned Bush for her seemingly contradictory remarks. From Jerry Dunleavy, Twitter. In less than 30 seconds, and I agree, she literally said this within 30 seconds. Cori Bush, I'm going to make sure I have security. She literally says that. Also, Cori Bush. And defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police. Okay. You see how that just seems a little bit out of whack to me. Just a little bit out of whack. From John Levine, another tweet. Cori Bush, I'm going to make sure I have private security, but defunding the police needs to happen. And he basically just, puts her right on the spot. And this is on her with the Capitol in the background. So if I end up spending $200,000, so suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police. These are the quotes that are going to haunt Democrats in the midterms. I agree. I think the rest of America is going to go, you guys are out of touch. We are literally prisoners in our own homes in a lot of these neighborhoods. And you're talking about fewer cops? That doesn't seem like our reality. I think those are some of the conversations people are having right now. Hey, this doesn't make a lot of sense. We're in fear for our lives in our own communities. And you read these stories. If you read any of the crime stories, there's a lot of stuff going on in a lot of neighborhoods. Seattle is not alone either. I mean, we've got shootings, you got drive-by shootings. You got all kinds of stuff going on. People shooting each other on the road and the side of the roads, people stabbing each other. I mean, crime is up. It's not down. And we've got fewer cops. And we've got a judicial system that doesn't put anybody in jail. And we've emptied out our mental institutions, and a lot of people are on drugs, and we don't really do anything about it, and don't do anything about petty crime. And so it just kind of, takes life on its own. But what we keep coming back to is defund the police, when in fact, that doesn't seem like a good idea. So yeah, we've just got multiple people just kind of picking this gal apart. We got one from Scott Walker. Listen carefully is another tweet. This is who is driving the agenda for the left. It's Cori Bush. So, I mean, and we've already picked this argument. Lawmakers also weighed in, including Senator Tom Cotton, Republican from Arkansas, who wondered if he had heard her correctly. This can't be real, Cotton tweeted. When I watched this video, I can't remember when I watched it, sometime over the weekend, because I think she said it on Thursday. I was like, does she not realize how contradictory that comes across? It's all about me. I could die. You? Oof, good luck with that. You constituents, you don't want to see me die, do you? And I bet you her constituents are like, what's up with this? That doesn't make any sense. Does it? Doesn't make any sense to me. Bush also appeared to threaten Mark and Patricia McCloskey this week after the couple were given pardons for wielding guns as Black Lives Matter protesters marched in their neighborhood last year. She said Mark McCloskey's day will come. That kind of sounds to me like King James, his proclamation when the cop shot a person who was trying to stab another black person. And King James said, you're next in his tweet, not really understanding the full scenario. Mark McCloskey's day will come. What does that mean? Is that a veiled threat of violence? It's hard to say, isn't it? Your day will come. Whew. Yeah. A lot of stuff going on, isn't there? Just a lot of stuff. Nutty. You've got some narratives that, they sounded great last summer in the heat of all the protests. And now we've actually had some time to see how those things work. It's going the other way. We are actually more in a refund the police type position now. And I think comments like that will ultimately hurt people making them, because the average person who is living in a community that has fewer police in it, they understand, okay, the reason this is happening, we don't have enough cops to patrol our streets and provide even a little bit of safety. It's gone the other way. This is just a free-for-all. It's not good. Chicago's a free-for-all. I loved how the I think it was the parents of one of the cops that was shot. 2 cops were shot. One was killed. The other, and the police officers basically told Mayor Lightfoot, Lori Lightfoot, don't come up to the hospital room. She did anyway. Cops turned their back on her. I say good, because you can't come out and when it's clear that the whole defund the police thing is a no-go. It's just a terrible idea. And putting it in place, it hasn't been a good thing. And yet, now that Lori Lightfoot is, oh man, maybe this narrative, this isn't the way we need it to be. She's been talking about defunding the police and all this other nonsense for how long? And then all of a sudden realizes, oh, this politically isn't going the way we want it to go. Now I'm going to start talking how great police officers are. All of a sudden we are pivoting 100%. We are pivoting. And yet Cori Bush, she didn't get the memo yet that she's supposed to pivot. She hasn't got that memo yet. Didn't get the memo. She must still be hanging out on the porch steps, right, of the Capitol. Got no internet there. Got no internet. She didn't. Her phone not required to work off of Wi-Fi. Gets internet from the signal in the sky and the big transceiver. Oh yeah, Cori Bush didn't get the memo that the whole defund the police thing is kind of over, and that's not politically where you want to be. It's crazy. This is who is driving the narrative, and these are the people who just got the eviction moratorium extended out, and it's no wonder, is it? It's really no wonder that this is going on. Why are we talking about this stuff on a real estate podcast? Well, because it has to do with eviction moratoriums that aren't legal and public safety. Public safety. Homes, important. People who live in said homes, way more important. You don't have enough cops on the street, those communities aren't going to be safe. In Chicago, I think we can go out on a limb and say, this last weekend wasn't safe, can't we? I mean, we'll come right out and say, Chicago was unsafe with 13 killed and 86 shot over the weekend. And in an 11-hour period, there was like 45 people that got shot. 11 hours, 45 people that got shot. I mean, and you want less cops? I would not be making that statement. Would not be making that statement. No, not me. But then again, I'm a real estate guy. What would I know? Public safety. It's important. You want people to be safe. You want your kids to grow up and live. Nutty. Defund the police. Well, you are free to have your opinion. However, I disagree with you. And yeah, that's that. So, all right, that's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for being a part of the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. I will catch up with you soon because this story is going to keep on going because there's more people that haven't got this memo, aren't there? We're going to talk about them right here in the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me. We'll talk soon. Until then, bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know when our next video is out.